Vaughn, where have you been all this time? Well, you see, I've been farming potatoes in Skyblock. That was a joke. In all seriousness, I got hit with a ton of life stuff the same time I wanted to try my hand at video editing. And like many things in this path of monotony, this killer of dreams and expression we call life, it got pushed to the back burner, doomed to simmer in the dusty closet of my mind. Momentum dead, until I was given a respite, a gasp of fresh air from this never-ending death march, or wrestled a brief moment, but a sliver from the crushing grasp of Father Time himself. In all lack of seriousness, let me tell you, as a drawn-out, elaborate, and long-winded setup to an unoriginal and dead 10-second meme. Don't say I didn't warn you. With further ado, here's the completely true and lore-accurate recounting of how we got here, with a few notable exceptions to smooth over the last 6 months. 6 months? I knew I've been busy, but I thought it was like 6 weeks, not 6 months. What happened to like half of my year? Where did it go? Where's my 14-ish odd weeks? No wonder it takes YouTubers forever to get anything done. It's a miracle we get anything good at all. Still, I gotta fix up the last 6 months of continuity errors and get this video out before GTA 6. The bar's never been higher. Let's give it a shot. Without any further ado, here's the story of how I got editing! Explosion, go! It all started around the time of my last video. Some fool, some imbecile thought it would be a good idea to put some effort into a little hobby he liked to refer to as online videography, but would more commonly be recognized as recording him talking to himself long enough to justify any mental asylum's yearly budget. Then, he would take those videos and show them to the world like a toddler giving his parents a finger painting. But it's not like the first time when it was cute. It's like the 12th time this has happened and the fridge is running out of space. And the painting's not even that good, but he just looks so proud of it, and you didn't have the heart to say no because it would crush his hopes, the dreams of this small child, all its aspiration shattered into a million tiny pieces and one rejection of mediocre toddler art, even though you knew rejection would end up with him growing out of this bad art phase, and if you were lucky, he would actually take the criticism to heart and grow from the experience. But you're weak and sympathetic to the plights of the small child and his simple dreams. And so onto the fridge it goes, right next to all the other artworks, as what was once a symbol of pride and joy slowly becomes a twisted trophy of shame, mocking you for your pity in a moment of weakness. That's like me. I'm the pity video on the algorithmic fridge that is the YouTube homepage. And I, being the bright-eyed child that I am, have the grand idea to edit those videos, adding a proverbial frame to the pity painting on the fridge. How hard could it be, really? A little audio slicing here, some PNGs there, and bada bing bada boom, you got a video, baby! Only one small, teensy-weensy little problem. I didn't have video editing software. And that's just a little bit important. Okay, technically, I did have video editing software, and it worked alright, but it was built for, like, simple 10-minute videos. So did I really have video editing software? What was I gonna do? Start small and have some kind of growth period where I learned how making videos worked and slowly built a style and confidence along the way? No. No. I needed something that would let me take on a project of a video. Not quite something that would take a few weeks, but if you're not spending a week on your first ever edited, no experience whatsoever video, what are you doing? But I didn't have video editing software, so I was stuck. Doomed to take the admittedly smarter road most traveled and use the regular, perfectly adequate editor I already used for my videos. Was that? Dude, you're so right. I did have one last option. To be honest, this isn't my first time trying to get better editing software. A while back, I had tried to get Davinci Resolve, but when I downloaded it, I didn't take into account that my computer is a potato with a screen. So I got the latest version of Davinci. And when I tried to open it, much like when I checked to see if my favorite anime is getting a second season, I am left with disappointment, sadness, and a void in my soul. In all fairness, that last one might just be me. And, just like the problem child that I am, to fix it, I dug around my computer files for 10 minutes and just made everything worse. After that, I dropped the side project and it's been living in my computer rent-free. But no longer. Not in this economy. I need all that space for, reference photos. Yeah. But you can solve problems with a few clicks of a button these days, so it's no biggie. A few Google searches and one tutorial video later, I figured out all I had to do was delete the new version, install an older version, and restart my computer. Easy as pie. So I followed my Indian guru as he guided me through the process. First, I tried to delete the current version, but as it turned out, when Problem Child me went through fixing stuff, he had made it so that I couldn't use the uninstall button built into the system. Good job. So off course I veered, leaving my guide to venture into the ad-ridden jungles of the Google search bar. Query after query, only to bring me back to the same answer. Just use the uninstall button, bro. Was that it? Was this journey doomed to fail before the first step? Was my hubris the undoing of my video editing dreams? Maybe it was never meant to be. Maybe I was always just meant to be the mediocre, editless videographer and nothing more. Ready to hang up my hat, I gave one more search. The last Hail Mary these roads have. This last search would spell victory or defeat. Using the ancient scrolls, I found out the solution. I had to reinstall the version I had so it could rewrite the file some idiot broke. Yeah. Having successfully deleted the version I had, I found myself back at my Indian tech wizard. Step 1 complete, I followed his guide and installed a version compatible with my system. All I had left was to restart my computer, and I would be home free. But there was one problem. So I went searching my closet for my big boy pants. And seeing as I couldn't find my big boy pants to make the hard, adult decisions, I looked for another solution. Because as the saying goes, if you don't have anything nice to wear, don't wear anything at all. Wait, don't have anything nice, wear, don't anything at all. Yeah, that's how that saying goes. And so I started making a checklist of what I needed to get past this incredibly difficult task no one has seen before. Saving my tabs. All I needed was the bare minimum. For now, make it super simple. I could always change it later, right? First, I need something to save the tabs. Second, I need something to be able to open the saved tabs. Wait, what are you doing? Whoa. Now that the absolute bare minimum has been set, I looked at my schedule, and in my head I'm like, I already do 4 things that take up almost all of my day. Almost all, so we got space for one more baby, and the project was off. Montage time. First, I got a programmer version of my browser to make it a browser extension. Then I got the layout, got tab saving function, could open save tabs, make tab save in groups, time tracking, checklist, schedule, call from my cousin. Hey Vaughn, you've been radio silent for the past week or so. Hope everything's alright. I was just wondering if you got the hand finished. Week? That's crazy. Holy crap, it's been a week, and this bloody tab project isn't even done yet. I can get that done the next few days. Great, love to hear it. Remember, it's super important, should be a top priority at this point. Counting on you, no pressure. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'll just put this down for a second and get the hand done. I have all the parts, so it can't take more than a few days, right? It'll be a walk in the park. It was not a walk in the park. The hand project, believe it or not, is a project to build a robot hand. My cousin found a robot hand designed by some French people that could be mostly 3D printed. So he put me to work. It's apparently super important for a product showcase for his VR, XR, ARG, VHS business stuff. Super techie stuff, but way above my pay grade, because I don't get paid. The problem I had with it, and why it inevitably took so long, was the materials list. The darn thing was written like a keep talking nobody explodes manual crossbred with a reading comprehension test. In case you missed it, spacers included is not a material, and definitely not something you want to see in the materials list when they didn't specify what brand or where you could buy the parts from. On top of that, they live in France. And last I checked, the US is not in France. So we couldn't buy what they bought when the build needed the parts that just came as the nice little bonus. And they just assumed that you had parts lying around sometimes. Or you could just pull them out of thin air. It would go something like this. You'd used all the parts they asked for in the materials list. Then they tell you to take your nice little robot finger and attach it with some screws that you just gotta pull from the ether. Because these parts were so small, none of my towns sold anything for them. And the cherry on top, all of this is in poorly translated English, formatted like it's from my personal demon from dyslexia hell itself. Okay. That took a bit longer than I thought, but now we can get back to the task at hand, fixing my tab problem. On the last episode of How Many Side Projects Can I Jam in One Video, I'd gotten the general saving system, organization, and tracking done. All I had to do was get it to be compatible with Obsidian, my favorite note-taking app. I could probably do a whole other video on my struggles with data management and how I fixed it, but the TLDR is I use Obsidian, a native note-taking program, and some notebooks to keep myself straight in the head. And now, I had to get it to be compatible with my browser. Luckily, I have a simple way to fix this. So with a little bit of research, I figured out you can do some magic with plugins and some HTTPS ports where the browser talks to the port, talks to Obsidian, and just like that, we have first contact. So a little bit of backend, a few plugins that let me run code in Obsidian, and it's all done. Wait, you can run code in Obsidian? You know what that means? Yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm going to address the elephant in the room here. This adorable little critter is scope creep, and it's a representation of a bigger problem. That problem being, as I'm writing this script right now, I've spent the last 5-ish months on side quests, main quests, and an amount of hobbies that would make a jack-of-all-trades weep with joy. In front of me, I have a script with some 2,000 words, a few hundred Japanese flashcards to get through, and the last bits of this story to write. And I still need to get a metric tuck fund of things done in the next week or two. The original plan for this video was to get it out in a week or two and then get back to my little low-effort, fun 30-minute chat sketch things, you know? And to be honest, I'm probably going to do just that. Big videos like this are hard to do, not because there's not content for them, but because there's too much content for them. I'm someone who lives and breathes the creative flow, which means that I can start working on a small 5-minute video to demonstrate that I can edit my silly little hobby videos on the internet, and end up with a full character PNG design, a marketable plushie side character, 2,500 word script, and still have more gas in the tank to make it a bigger project. Scope creep is my biggest enemy when it comes to this little hobby of mine, which is why I forced myself to keep the art simple for this video, why big videos like this will be few and far between, and why the smaller, unrefined videos will be a product of my creative overflow. I'm saying all of this because if you've made it this far, you're probably going to engage with the video, whether you want to like, you want to subscribe, or you want to, comment a silly little thing for me to do next. And if you are going to engage like that, I want to be clear on what this channel is. It's not your average YouTube channel where they have a niche and they stick with it. The whole channel is because I was sitting in my room making stuff, and I wanted to put it on the internet to see if I could get a little bit of feedback, grow some new skills, and learn to talk about myself in a more entertaining manner. And above all else, have an outlet for my hobbies. The sad part is, I've been avoiding that because it would ruin the continuity of this video specifically. It's a trade-off I took for my first edited video, but I don't think I'll be making that deal again. So, if what you're looking for is a bunch of different things, a smorgasbord of videos, of topics, and of subjects to, engage in, that kind of directed chaos is what you desire, for some reason, this is the channel for you. To call it done is like taping a waffle to the backside of a duck and calling it a platypus. If you're blind, deaf, and don't have to touch it, they're practically the same thing. As it stands, there were days of bug fixing my tab saving system, but because I wasn't planning on it taking this long, I recorded none of it, so here's the skinny. The saving is a mess because I wanted to save and edit from the browser and Obsidian, and I still have to finagle if I want to save links from the Obsidian side. The time tracking system is all sorts of wrong, from having a limit of 5 on how many items it can track to not having an actual calendar. There's a data handling problem in there somewhere, but it gets fixed as long as I do the good old turn it off and turn it on again whenever that problem hits, and it has a buggy UI on both the Obsidian and browser end. Half the buttons do nothing. The offline system is in constant meltdown and screams red whenever I try to run it, and a whole literal page of bug fixes and quality of life changes have yet to be implemented. Bethesda, you know where to contact me. But it does save the tabs, right, Vaughn? I hear my non-existent audience ask from the abyss. And to that I say, well, yes, kinda. Okay, most of the time. As long as I reboot it before it saves, it works every time. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's better than what I had before, okay? So now that that's done, we can get back to what this video was originally about. Getting Davinci Resolve to work on my computer. Bet you forgot, didn't you? Somewhere in there, so did I. So, after a harrowing journey, successfully avoiding literal dragons, and slaying the dragons we made along the way, this turtle has finally caught up to Hercules. We faced hardships, bugs, a project monster whose scope and creep alone are enough to earn myself the title of the one true YouTuber, and an unreasonable amount of explosion transitions. After all that, simply returning to the familiar world of tech tutorial videos feels strangely nostalgic, in that nothing changed but me sort of way. It's time I hit the restart button to finally accomplish the third step in this simple 3-step process. Mother